So in this general video, I want to talk about your MOP account setup that you're going to be using throughout the semester. So you have this sheet of paper that has some information about the Mind on Physics app, and we call it MOP. So you should have already purchased the parts 1 and parts 2 for $1, and we're going to set that all up today. This has some information that you should probably scan through and read. So when using your MOP app, you have to set up your account with the following information, and it really has to be done exactly like this. So student ID, I've individually assigned you a student ID. And you need to use what I assign. This has nothing to do with your Beaumont ID or any other identification that you have. School, you're going to put in Beaumont School. The teacher code is BSKS, which stands for Beaumont School Kari Schick. My email address is kschick@beaumontschool.org, and there are no source codes needed. And this is on that sheet of paper. So regarding your student ID, I have assigned every student an ID number based on which block you are in. So you should be able to find your name here and identify what student ID number I have assigned to you. So take a look at this. I'm also going to post this up on Google Classroom, so you will have access to it. But go ahead and pause the video, find your name, and write it down on your sheet. Then when you go in to set up your app, you're going to enter your student ID number and your teacher code. And as it says here, if your student ID number and teacher code are incorrectly listed, then return to the main menu and edit your profile information. So once you're in the app and you've entered this information, it should always show up correctly here as to your ID number and your teacher code, because what it does is it generates a specific success code when you finish a mission, and it will end up giving you that code. You're going to write it on a sheet of paper in your packet, and that's what you're going to submit to me. If you don't use your correct ID number and teacher code, and then I go in to check your success code won't match and I won't give you credit for it. So it is important that you do this correctly at the beginning. So in this screen, I show you here that there are a couple of different sections that you can work on, and I'm going to have you work on a number of these throughout the semester. Some things we'll skip, some things we'll do, and the order may not be exactly in numerical order as they're listed on the table of contents screen. So these are essentially sets of questions to check your understanding on concepts in physics. And the better you understand a topic, the easier they are. The more you struggle with answering the questions, it shows that you don't understand a certain topic maybe as much as you think you do. But the thing is when you struggle with a question in the MOP app and you ask me about them, we can typically figure out what your thinking is and get it fixed, and then you can move on and get the questions right. So every time you work on them, you get these success codes. And when you do an assignment in the MOP app, you kind of start from this screen and it asks you what would you like to do. I always recommend starting in marathon mode. In the past, some students have mistakenly gone into sudden death, and when you do sudden death, as soon as you miss a question, you have to start all over again. In marathon mode, you get to continue on until you eventually answer all the questions correctly. And unfortunately, there is a big question bank for these. So just because you miss it one time and figure out what the right answer, the next time you see a question, it may not be the exact same question. It will actually be a variation of a similar question. So it really is a good way for me to help you and to help understand what you understand, what you don't understand. And remember, the goal here, yes, is to answer all the questions successfully, but the more important thing is to figure out things that maybe you don't understand as well as I'd like you to. So you end up having these success code sheets where you're going to write down your success code. And this is just an example of one of them. Some of them have a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. And when you're working in marathon mode, you will always get a bronze medal. In sudden death, you'll get gold and silver, but don't worry about the color of the medal because it really doesn't matter. All that matters is that you get a success code once you've successfully answered all of the questions. Again, there are no start codes, and I will assign all of these based on these assignment numbers. So you're going to go ahead and want to be sure that you record your success code on the correct line. And we're going to be first starting to work with these in Chapter 2. So you can put this information aside for now, and when you are ready to do the first MOP app, if you actually need to come back and watch this video, it's pretty short, and you can come back and look at it again.